While most of the UK, as well as Ireland, has lost the heat once again, it is very much a day by day thing across southwestern areas of Europe. Thanks for clicking on to the Thursday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It really is Southern Europe that is baking in the heat at the moment, but we do have some disturbances that are pushing from the Atlantic into that heat, creating storms. This was the scenes, by the way, last night. This is a tweet here shared by Met Forecast showing the damaging storms that was seen in Paris 2 nights ago. So, yeah, I think it was last night, in fact. Sorry. So this was the scenes, trees blown down. We had, obviously, the damage and wind gusts, large hail, and as well as that, frequent lightning and downpours. So that was the scenes in one clip, and let's have another quick look at the storms as they happened last night. High levels of CAPE, or convective available potential energy, has been on the high end because of the amount of heat and humidity that we've had stored up in the low levels of the atmosphere. Then you've got layers of cooler running over the top, creating the very intense instability. Look at some of these storms, these big anvil supercell storm clouds that have developed over that. It's just like putting a boiling pot of water over the stove, and the atmosphere just builds. It creates that tremendous lift. Obviously, some of these storms are reaching 30, 40,000 feet in the atmosphere here. It hits the ceiling of the troposphere and pans out. There's that upper level divergence, creating the beautiful anvil structure on the top of these supercell thunderstorms. But tremendous lightning, damaging wind gusts, large hail has been the story across the heart of France. Look at the size of this hailstone in this person's hand here. So yes, very representative of the tremendous thunderstorm activity that we've been seeing due to these disturbances. Areas of low pressure bringing the fresher air across the bulk of the UK and Ireland, but of course the southeast corner of the UK has held on to some of that warmth and humidity. But really the real deal is on the mainland of Europe here, where we've been seeing temperatures even as high as 41 degrees in France over the last 24 hours or so. You can see another frontal system bringing or attempting to bring some of that fresh air, very powerful area of hot, humid air across the central and southern swathe of Europe here. We've got obviously that record-breaking warm waters within the Mediterranean for the time of the year. And these systems are trying to build in, and obviously it's creating this very explosive environment for thunderstorms to develop here. So while it was over France yesterday, we're now seeing that boundary pushing its way into central areas of Europe. Tremendous amounts of lightning anywhere from northern Italy up into the north of Germany. This corridor here is seeing something fresher moving into the near continent of Europe at the moment here. We've got this lone lightning strike here to the southwest of Paris. We've also got some quite a wee bit of convection over the Atlas Mountains of both Morocco and northern Algeria. In terms of the temperatures then, you can see here, say, fresher. We've still got 26 in and around the Paris area. We've now managed to drop into the low 20s for Belgium and the Netherlands, where the heat has been an ongoing story in recent times here. Definitely cooler across the heart of France compared to yesterday. These were the highs yesterday in central France. We're talking about temperatures in the upper 30s to even notching 40, 41 degrees in that central portion of France. But thanks to them storms that were triggered by that frontal system moving eastwards off the Atlantic, the temperatures are somewhat fresher for now anyway, because we are going to see, as I've already highlighted, the ridge building. We've got this system that is exiting North America, creating that dip in the jet. We're then forcing the jet stream further south over the Atlantic, and that's forcing the ridge to build again over western areas of Europe. I want to emphasize this point. Not all of North America in recent days seen the heat. I did see one comment saying that parts of North America, but also let's include Europe as well, not everywhere is seeing the heat. So I want you to kind of, without sounding condescending or dictator or whatever, don't know if that's the right word, but they pay attention to what's being said, because there is obviously a lot of people want to kind of pick up and want what they want to hear as opposed to the actual facts that is being said. So, let's try and keep that in mind as we're going through these videos here. But you can see here the temperatures again into the high 30s in that south central zone of Spain. We're going to see the heat building back into the 40s here once again. We are going to see that temperatures rising again over France, into the Low Countries, into the southeast of the UK. The majority of the UK is probably not going to see much in the way of heat at all. This pattern is very much playing out the way I thought, with a low pressure system that's kind of dominating, shielding the majority of the UK and Ireland from the real heat that is an ongoing story this June across much of Europe. Really, let's be honest with the facts here. But you can see here, this is the story as we go forward. Then let me just pick out the right graphic. So let's have a look at the 850s of the ECMWF. Now, look at what's happening. We've got this area of low pressure. We've got systems riding that westerly airflow. We're seeing windy conditions. We're seeing wet conditions. We're seeing showers, longer spells of rain. We've generally got quite an unsettled pattern across the UK as well as Ireland. But it's this system here that is now moving into the central and North Atlantic, pulling in fresher, cooler air from the Baffin Straits. That is then digging southwards into the subtropical Atlantic, and all the while it's forcing this low to deepen, but then it's also starting to tap this warm reservoir between the Azores, Iberia, Western Mediterranean, and it's going to lift northwards here. Now, we are going to see warmer and more humid right the way across the UK and Ireland, but the core of the heat largely remains over the near continent and edging into the southeast as we move towards the weekend and into early next week. It looks as if the heat will peak early next week. So you can see here as we continue to play through, again, we've got that distinct north-south split in conditions. Single figure 850 temperatures across the far north of Scotland. We've got temperatures edging around 15 Celsius, edging to the southeast coast of England, with the real heat still over mainland Europe. This time it's as of Saturday. But as we continue to play it through, we've got another feature developing at the base of the trough that is now extending well into the subtropics. If you notice here, we've got a lot fresher air moving down further and further south over the Atlantic, reaching as far south as beyond the latitude of the Azores. And that is going to see a new feature develop here. This will eventually cut the heat out, by the way. We're going to see the heat building, then it gets kicked out due to that feature. And this cold front moving eastwards across the British Isles. But watch what happens as we move into Sunday and particularly Monday, possibly Tuesday as well. We could be threatening national all-time June records. That is a possibility. France, it's not going to get there. I think the maximum temperature was the all-time record for France was actually set at the end of June in 2019. A bit of confusion. I've always known it to be 45.9 as the France all-time record, but I believe it was 46. It may have been rounded up to 46.0, but France is not going to get there in terms of all-time June record, but we will threaten it potentially in Belgium, Netherlands, and let's be honest, it may even happen in the UK as well. I'm pretty confident we're going to see the hottest weather of the summer so far with this current spell. But it's really Monday. It looks as if the heat will peak. This is the right setup here for low to mid 30s across the southeast. Yes, we could see temperatures into the mid 20s, for example, across the far north of Scotland yet again. But it depends on cloud and other aspects as well, wind direction and whatnot. But we may have a more south to southwesterly component to the wind. If we get the sunshine, the temperatures will respond. But it also depends on the position of the frontal system as well. So yes, we will watch this going forward. So let's have a look at the day-by-day temperature anomalies, and they are going through the roof. Let's be honest. Let's look at the GFS. We'll look at the northwest Europe, excuse me, Northwest Europe view. Let's have a look at the temperature anomalies here. So starting off today, we still do have warmer than average temperatures right up the eastern side of the UK, fresher down the western side of the British Isles thanks to that west to east flow. We always have warmer, drier conditions across the east, always cooler and wetter across the west of both Ireland and the UK here. As can be seen, still got plenty of warmth across pretty much the majority of Europe. But it's as we move into the day on Friday, there's the sixes and sevens and eights above average showing up even across the southeast. Even though it's across Scotland, across Ireland, we're seeing warmer temperatures starting to show up on the charts here. You can see here 8 above average, Paris westwards here, and then down into the north of Spain, into central areas of Europe as well. Then we notch things up even further as we move into Saturday. We're talking about 12 above average across west, central France, northern portions of Iberia, edging into the north of Italy, for example. And then we really start to crank things up as that high builds to 594 towards the 597 decameter high. You're talking about 6,000 meters of compressed air, and that is a tremendous depth of atmosphere with sinking here. If we look at this graphic here, the greater that column of sinking, the greater the potential heating at the surface here. This is a lovely graphic here. Is it going to show me here? So you're going to have to kind of hopefully see this in a kind of far away viewpoint here, but you've basically got this dome of high pressure. Remember, it's all about what's happening over the open Atlantic. All that air is getting pushed towards Europe. It's then forcing the pressure to build over Europe here. And obviously, when you get that warming continuing to build into the upper levels of the atmosphere, you've got a tremendous amount of subsidence and sinking air, very heavy, dense air over the top of your head, getting driven down towards the surface. And as that air sinks, it compresses and it heats up. And basically, this dome of high pressure is going to be reaching its limits for the time of the year, essentially. And therefore, when you've got a record or near record strong upper level high, not surface, but upper level high, you've got the chance of seeing maximum heat potential down at the surface here. So this is a significant hot spell for sure, folks, and it will have to be taken seriously. So this is temperature anomalies at the 2 meter level by the time we reach Saturday, 18 UTC, widespread 8 to 12 Celsius above average, southeastern UK, eastern UK, and also the majority of western mainland Europe. We continue to see the increase in temperature anomalies, that more widespread 12 Celsius above average. This is a big deal considering it's now the end of June. We're edging into the heart of summer, really, essentially, and we're seeing temperatures that are naturally in the kind of 21 to 23 Celsius on average. Stack another 12 Celsius on top of that average of 20, 21, 22, 23. That is some pretty serious heat. And then as we move into the day on Monday, it looks as if this could potentially be the peak of the heat. Look at England. Look at really from east of Birmingham, anywhere from a line of south of the Humber all the way down to the south of London. We've got a region of 12 Celsius above average. Look at the majority of France. Look into the Netherlands, Belgium, western portions of Germany. We've got a vast area of over 12 Celsius above the average for the end of June. That is very significant warmth. And we continue to play through even into the day on Tuesday, which is the 1st of July. And you're now starting to see those exceptional high averages start to get pushed into the mainland of Europe here. All the while, we've got a weather system. If we look at the exact same chart, let's in fact look at the GFS and look at the overview chart here, you can see, in fact, let's look at the 850s. That's a better way of doing it. There's the fresher air moving in off the Atlantic, so we're starting to see the heat getting pushed eastwards here. Do we see some kind of outbreak of thunderstorms? Possibly. We'll wait and see. We'll look at that and analyze that in the next few days here. but this is kind of giving you that breakdown, this kind of building, explanation as to what's really going on here. It's fascinating stuff, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing here in the channel. If you are and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so. It's absolutely free content. As always, it's 7 days a week. But I want to show you this here as well. This is the temperature by Monday 12Z of the GFS model here, showing widespread upper 30s from low 40s down across southern Portugal and Spain, widespread mid to upper 30s right the way across France, but even across Belgium, Netherlands, and much of Western Germany, we're talking about mid 30s at least, and that could challenge national records here. In terms of the southeast of the UK, well, this is what the Met Office model suggests for Monday, 30th of June. Now, this could be overdone, and likely, hopefully, it is. If you like heat, yeah, I can understand you'll enjoy it, but a lot of people will not enjoy this. We're talking about 34, 35 Celsius. We've got a 36 Celsius showing up over the heart of East Anglia. That would be a new June record for the UK if that was remotely achieved. We've also got a 36 just to the west of London here. I can see here we've actually got several 36s west, northwest of London, northeast of London. So we will continue to watch these temperatures going forward. We will have another run of maybe 2-3 afternoons exceeding 30 Celsius in the UK. This will be one of the warmest Junes for the southeast of the British Isles, by the way. I'm pretty confident about that. Not so much across the north or across the west of the UK. So anyway, lots going on at the moment here. I hope you can stick around here on Mark Vogan Weather on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow with where we will continue to look at the medium to longer range in tomorrow's video. We'll look at some of the longer range stuff coming up. So stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow with more. Bye for now.